Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. It's Friday, so that means it's a new vlog and I'm really excited for this weekend. So I'm not in my usual spot in front of my books today. I am currently in my sewing workshop. As you can see, I have some orders to get through and I need them posted today, so I'm going to get some sewing done. I'm going to try to make this vlog a little shorter because I know my videos tend to be pretty long. I talk a lot, but I do have a short amount of time to actually get sewing done because I do want to get to the park right after that. But before that, I do want to talk to you about my reading plans for this weekend. So first of all, I did start reading The Dragon Republic. I am at page 139 and I am loving this book. It's a 5-star prediction. For those of you who do not know what this book is about, it is the second book of the Poppy War trilogy. This is an adult fantasy. It is a very dark, grim story. It is based on the Opium Wars between China and Japan, I believe. I may be wrong, but it is based on a history from China. That's for sure. So we follow Rin, who is an orphan. With a lot of hard work, she got to be accepted in the most elite military school of this country. And there she gets to be trained to become a soldier. But before graduating, a war erupts. There are gods that are involved in this and a lot of war. So it's not a book that glorifies war. It is very dark and grim. There's a lot of trigger warnings in this, at least for the first one. The second one seems to be in the same tone, so be wary of that if you want to get into it. But it does talk about the aftermath of war and how you deal with everything. And it talks about really raw things, which I really love. And I'm really invested in this book. I gave the Poppy War 5 stars. So now I'm reading this one. So far, it's a mess. Rin's a mess. There's a lot going on and I just can't wait to get more into it. I will try to update you as much as possible without giving too much spoilers because it is a second book of a trilogy. So I'm very confident that this will also be another 5-star read. The second book that I'm currently reading is The Elizas by Sarah Shepard. This is from the author of The Pretty Little Liars. I am reading more than one book at the same time. I like to mix things up. Usually I try to read one ebook and one physical book at the same time. And I try to read two completely different genres so I don't get mixed up with these stories when I read. But right now in my July TBR, I didn't have any more books that were on my reader. I only had physical books on my TBR that are left. So I decided to pick this one up because it's a mystery thriller. This is from the author of The Pretty Little Liars. And I did enjoy The Pretty Little Liars as a show. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. Like, I know it's not that good, that it's very far-fetched, and there's some things that are cringy in that show, especially the teacher-student relationship, which I do not condone. But for some reason, I still really love it, and I do still watch it from time to time. So it's a guilty pleasure. I did start reading books 1, 2, 3 of The Pretty Little Liars. I will probably do a video only on the Pretty Little Liar books, but the first 3 books were pretty average to me. I enjoyed the show way better, and after reading Tiny Pretty Things, I feel like I don't like reading teen drama. Maybe it's not a trope for me, but I still decided to pick this one up because I wanted to know if I was going to like it or not. And it ends up being a very bad read. I should probably DNF this, but I don't DNF books. It's not in me. I hate unfinished things. I'm not gonna be feeling good about myself if I don't finish it. So I need to finish it, but I don't annotate books, but I've put some post-its on these pages because I knew I was going to rant about this book, and these are the main things that made me cringe and were problematic to me, so it's not looking great. I'm only at page 53 and it's already very, very problematic. Even in the first chapter, the writing is really, really bad. The characters just do, all the characters do really cringy things. There's one thing about YA that I don't particularly like is when YA protagonists are teens and they act like they are 20 or 25 years old. I don't really like that. But in this, the main character is 22 years old and she acts like she's a teenager, and her mother acts like she's a teenager as well, which is really cringy. I think it's worse than the other way around. I don't know. I'm really not liking it. Really cringy. I didn't tell you what this book was about. So this follows Eliza, who is a young author. She's writing a book. Her book isn't published yet, but it is getting published pretty soon. But she was found in the pool and some strangers took her out of there, and she wakes up in the hospital, and she once had a brain tumor that got her doing some strange behaviors, and that's when they discovered it was due to her brain tumor. She already had surgery for that. I think it's 2 years before this book was happening. And then her mom thinks this is starting all over again. But she is convinced that someone pushed her and no one believes her. And from what I've read in the synopsis, there's this thing where people mix up the events from her book and her real event. There's this, is it happening? Is it not happening? Is it real? Is it not real type of vibe? And you do have chapters from her book between every other chapters. The premise sounded very interesting, but so far it's just really, really bad. I'm predicting a 1-star read for this one. I might be picking up more books because even if I'm not a very far through those ones, I will be participating, as I do every month, in the 24-hour Readathon. It is hosted by Mel from Mel Reads, Christine from Any Endings, Jalisa from Bounded and Bookmarked, and Kristen from Books and More with Kristen G. So I will link their channels down in the description below. So every month they host a 24-hour readathon during the last Saturday of the month, and they do live shows throughout that 24-hour, and I love participating in them. They are really fun to read with and to join with in live, so I'm really excited about that. I usually don't read fully, like a full 24-hour without sleeping, because I work full-time, but I might be doing an almost 24-hour awake time tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But I'm very excited about that. My goal is to finish those 2 books before the end of the 20-hour readathon and then get on with more books, because the end of the month is coming pretty fast and I really want to get my books on my TBR read. So yeah, that's a plan. I don't have any plans for Sunday because I think it's supposed to be raining on Sunday, so it's probably going to be another day of cleaning up and reading, chill, probably some sleeping as well. So that's it. I'm gonna leave you to my sewing and I will see you with an update. Coffee, check. Water, check. Snack, check. Books, check. So I put on my PJs and my hoodie and I'm all set to start the 24-hour readathon. I'm waiting for the sprints to start very, very soon. We didn't end up going to the park because my sewing took just too much time. We decided to go on a picnic tomorrow at said park and then have fun there. I'm going to bring my book, obviously, so I can still continue to read. I did want to sleep a bit before starting the readathon, but I ended up cleaning up. Then bedtime arrived and then I did some editing. I have about an hour of footage left to edit for last weekend's vlog, which is way too much. It was supposed to be up today, so I kind of have to do that a little rush as well, but it's fine. I'm probably going to take some breaks during the day to finish the editing so it can be uploaded tomorrow. I think I'm going to start the readathon with the Dragon Republic because I know I'm just loving this book, so we're gonna start off this readathon on a good note. So hopefully I'll get a lot of reading done. That's my goal for the next 24-hour so I can push through that July TBR. It's daytime now, so it's been a couple of hours since my last update. I did join Mel's sprints for the beginning of the readathon and I really loved their lives. They're hilarious. It was really fun. So I read during the sprints and so I kind of dozed off a little bit during the sprints and then I woke up, the sprints were over. I didn't miss much though, so at that time I decided to take a nap for an hour or two just to get boosted a bit because yes, I did have coffee, but coffee does not wake me up. For some reason, it never did. So I can take coffee any time of the day. It won't keep me awake. So I can't rely on that to stay awake. And reading really does get me sleepy. I don't know for you guys. Even if it's the best book ever, it still gets me sleepy. But yeah, I ended up sleeping for 4 hours because I forgot to put on an alarm on my phone. But it's fine, I'm up now. I started with my morning workout routine and then I got myself some breakfast, another fresh coffee, and now I'm ready to read. I have about an hour and a half before we leave because we're going to leave for the playground. We have a playground in front of our house and there's another playground a little further away. And in that one, there's like water installations where the kids can, it's not a pool, you can't swim, but you can refresh yourself. So we're going to go there because it's going to be very hot today. So we're gonna go picnic over there, have fun with the water and the park and the playground. I will be bringing my book and read. I won't be joining the live that's going to be on during that time, but I will be reading my book. And until we leave, I'm going to be reading a bit more. During the sprints of the readathon, I started with the Dragon Republic. I read about 30-ish pages. I love this book so much. These characters are so flawed and I love it. I'm really rooting for Rin, but honestly, I don't know what she's doing. She doesn't always make the best decisions, and it makes me really stressed out when that happens, when she makes really bad decisions. And the part where I'm at, it was really stressful. She's trusting this character, and I'm not sure if we should trust him. And we know that Rin is feeling a bit conflicted on who to trust. It's just so stressful. I love it. Nothing more to say. For the next hour, I'm going to be continuing the Elizas because I don't want to bring this one at the playground. So I'm going to go a little bit through this one. It's interesting to read a 5-star and a 1-star at the same time. I don't think I've ever done that before. But yeah, I'm going to get a little more done with this one. That's it. I have nothing else. See you later.
And all I want to do is find a place where it will be so dark I can't see. I'll let the music guide me. I'll see through silence and follow it to some reality. At night I feel alive, and all the flashing colors fill inside my mind. I breathe and close my eyes. The music animates me till I'm out of time. A paradise never turns to black and white. Let's make time tomorrow for doing nothing. I'm just gonna say goodbye to yesterday and all the days. At night I feel alive, and all the flashing colors fill inside my mind. I breathe and close my eyes. The music animates me till I'm out of time. A paradise never turns to black and white.
Hi everyone! So we're now at the end of the day. I'm really sorry for the noise outside. I really need to keep my door open and there's people being really loud, very close. I'm sorry if you can hear that. We had a wonderful time at the park and it was really fun. It was really enjoyable. I don't know for you, but I do not tolerate heat very well. I get sunburn very easily, even with some sunscreens, and I easily can get heat strokes and stuff like that. So I don't tolerate heat very well. I'm more of a winter person. In the shades, it was quite enjoyable. We stayed in the shades while my son was playing in the playground, which was really fun. And he got to play with the water fountains thingies they have for the kids. But I did not manage to read a lot during this afternoon because obviously I have to keep an eye on my son. Even if I was with my husband, it's a teamwork. So, and I keep getting interrupted. Mom's life. So yeah, I managed to read a chapter of the Dragon Republic, and then we went to get some ice cream and we came back home and I just kept on reading the Dragon Republic for about an hour or two. Then it was time to eat, bedtime, all that stuff. And I'm ready to get back to reading. I'm not halfway through, but almost. I'm now at chapter 14, so page 241. I'm still really enjoying this, even if I'm really stressed out and worried for what's going to happen next. I was told I was going to cry with this book. When it comes to movies and TV series, I'm an emotional mess. I cry for nothing and everything, and even for the most basic thing. It doesn't take me much to cry with TV series and movies, but in books, I've never cried before for books. I did get teary-eyed once, and that was when I was reading The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I got teary-eyed, and it was happy tears, but it's actually the only time it ever happened to me. So we'll see if I cry with this. It's still an emotional roller coaster. I don't have any much more to say than what I said the last time. I'm invested. I want to root for these gray characters. I don't know who to trust anymore. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a stressful time. I didn't get much reading of the Elizas. I did read that a bit before we went to the park, and I didn't get much done, but I think I'm going to just push through this one so I can finish one book during this readathon and keep the Dragon Republic for tomorrow. I think that's going to be the plan. But yeah, this is still a very bad book. Maybe it will help me get through it because it's so bad I just want to get it over with. Maybe that will help with my reading speed. We'll see. So yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I'm going to give you an update after the sprints.
I couldn't see with how close I was. It's not hard to find if your grip is loose enough. How lucky to be by your side, to feel your stare. Sick as a dog, I run my hands through your hair. Oh, my heart will change. I wait for nothing. The intense rearrange, making space where there was none before. She says she's running on time, darling, aren't we all? I think you could show me something that I won't need to resolve. So twist my words until you can find a way to make them work for you. Your windshield drawings start to fade. Oh, my heart will change. I wait for nothing. The intent.
Hey everyone, long time no see. So I don't think I did an update on the end of the 24-hour readathon, but yeah, I ended up reading about 150 pages, which is, in my opinion, not a lot. If you're thinking about page count every day and you're working on that day and you're trying to keep up that page count, 150 is a lot for me. But if you're considering that I had a full 24-hour to read, it's not a lot. I do not read very fast. It takes me about 2 minutes to read one page, so it's pretty slow, but still 150 is definitely not as much as I wanted, but it's fine. I might do another one by myself next weekend. I don't think I read any more than the last time I talked to you about the Dragon Republic, so I'm still on page 241. I'm still in the same mindset for this book. Still very scared and worried for Rin and the psych, and I still don't know who to trust. And I'm still very stressed out with what is happening right here. But I did read a little more of the Elizas. It's still a very, very bad read for me. I've been adding more and more tabs, and I'm only 100 pages in, 108, and I'm thinking about doing a Rant review video, something like that, for my full thoughts, but it's still very cringy, nothing makes sense. There's also a part where I read 3 letters and I closed the book thinking, no, that's that's not gonna be in here, but it was. I'm not someone who gets triggered very easily. I don't think I really have triggers except for this. So there's this scene where she meets her editor for her book, which no, her book is not published yet. So she meets her editor and her editor is pregnant with 3 babies, and she talks about her IVF process like it was nothing. This got me so mad. It's only a paragraph where she talks about IVF and having to carry 3 watermelons. It made me so mad I had to close the book. I honestly do not understand how this got published. So yeah, I might do a rant video on this one. I'm still going to push through as much as I can tonight. I didn't read much today because I had to edit the vlog of last week, which is going to go up pretty late. So sorry about that. But yeah, so I finished that. It's currently exporting, so I'm going to be uploading that on YouTube pretty soon, but in the meanwhile I'm going to push through this and get it done because I really want to finish a book this weekend. That's my goal. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. So I'll see you a little later with more of my thoughts. Hi everyone! So I didn't vlog yesterday on Monday because I wanted to finish the Elizas before I give any final update. As you can see, I put a lot of tabs in there. Those are tabs for moments where I cringe. In the book, there's a lot of them. I'm sensing not a shift, but I'm sensing that things are gonna be explained, and I am understanding what the author is trying to do with this book, and I feel that since I've been seeing cringy stuff since the beginning, I'm only looking out for them so I see them more, and I really want to see the book as a whole before I give you a final thought on this. So I'm going to finish this today and give you an update on that later. But before I do that, I wanted to do a little box opening because I just received my FairyLoot box. This is not sponsored. I bought this one for myself. I bought the one for May for my birthday, the one for June, and I'm going to get the one for July as well. You can find the one for May on my Patreon. I'm going to link it in the description below. But for now, we're going to open the one for June. So first thing, we have the spoiler card. So the theme for June is Animal Companion. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of animals in stories, well, mostly movies. I have no idea what this book is. I'm not going to look at the spoiler card. I'm going to try and guess what these are all about. So the first item I see from the box is from Crescent City. I haven't read any Sarah J. Maas book. Let's see what's in it. Ooh. So it's a ceramic pot, I guess, with characters from Crescent City. We have a beautiful lion and gold foil on it, and this character that I don't know about. I'm not sure what it's for. There's a hole here, so I'm not sure exactly what it's for. I'm gonna look it up in the spoiler card a little later. Next, we have a Raven Sleep Cycle, which is a pillowcase that I'm guessing is from the Raven Cycle. I have not read the Raven Cycle books, but it's on my list. I've been wanting to read those books for a while. So let me just... The heart is all fire. So we have this one. And the second one is the heart is too wicked. The heart is too wise. Very pretty. Next item item is a little envelope with the FairyLoot stamp on it. Oh, how cute! So this is a cat pin, a little black cat on a broomstick, which is very, very cute. It is designed by Layla Ashtar and it's called a delivery cat. I have no idea what this fandom is from, but it's very cute, very pretty. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but we'll see. Then we have Kingdom of the Wicked envelope. I have not read that book either. This is not going very well when you don't read the books that are included, but it's fine. It's on my list though. So this is, ooh, pretty. So, oh, something else. Okay. So it looks like a little character stand, a little character made of acrylic. And there's, I'm guessing, one of the main characters with a three-headed dog. And finally, we have this little envelope. Okay, let's see what's here. Oh, I am pretty happy because I was looking for some of those recently. So we have a metal bookmark with a tower and a dragon. I'm guessing from, this made me think of the Priory of the Orange Tree. Very, very pretty. And it looks pretty sturdy as well. And with the little holes here, very nice. And then we have the two carat. It's the Page of Wands. I do not know what character that is. And finally, the book. It's golden. I think you're gonna see it before me. Oh no. Okay, we have some. This cover is stunning. So it's called Fire by Fire by Destiny Soria. I have not seen this book yet. It's the first time I've seen it. So we have the painted edges. Really, really beautiful. I have no idea what this book is about. So let's see. It says here, what if the story we've been told about dragons is wrong? I love dragon stories. Danny and Eden Rivera were born to kill dragons, but that's the only thing the sisters have in common. For Danny, dragon slaying takes a backseat to everyday high school life. For Eden, slaying is her life, yet they both agree on one thing. Where dragons are concerned, it's kill or be killed. That is, until Danny actually meets a dragon and ends up forging a rare and magical soul bound with him. As they grow closer, she begins to question everything she thought she knew. Suddenly, the one thing Eden and Danny always agreed on is the one thing that could tear the world apart. With Danny lost to the wrong side, Eden knows she'll have to risk everything to bring her sister back from the edge, even turning to the mysterious and alluring sorcerers for help. Now on opposite ends of an impending war, the sisters will do whatever it takes to save the other. But the two are playing with magic that is more dangerous than they can imagine. And there is another one more powerful enemy waiting for them both in the shadows. I'm very intrigued. This sounds very, very interesting. I'm guessing there's a... yeah. So it is a signed copy from the author, which is very nice. And let's see if the dust... Ooh, okay. So we have this beautiful drawing on the cover. Very, very pretty. And on the inside of the dust jacket, we have this beautiful artwork. So I'm pretty happy with that box. I was scared for the animal thing, but dragons, right up my alley. Can't wait to read it. I know that there's a buzzword. I think it's in October. The buzzword is elements, so fire, water, and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to read that one during that buzzwordathon. I will get back to you when I'm done with my book. Hey, it's me again. I just realized that I forgot to tell you about what the things are and what fandom they were from. I forgot to look at the spoiler cards. So just quickly, we have the ceramic pot was in fact a flower pot, which I'm very, very happy about because I want more plants and I love plants on my, especially on my bookshelves. So very happy about that. So now I understand why there's a little hole there so the water can drain. But yeah, very happy about that. It was inspired by House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, which I'm guessing is one of the sequels of Crescent City. So it says, don't have a green thumb, store your bookmarks in it or use it as a pen holder. But there's definitely a plant that's going to be in here. Then we had the bookmark, which was, I was right, the Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It was made by No One Designs. The bedroom pillow covers were from the Raven Cycles by Maggie Stiefvater and are designed by Kidi Pletters. I should have guessed the enamel pin was from Kiki's Delivery Service because it said Delivery Cat. Should have guessed that one, but I didn't. I haven't read that, but I've heard great things about it. So the acrylic standee is from Wrath from Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. And from what I'm reading here, this little three-headed dog is not in the first book. It's actually going to be in the second book. And then we had the author's note. This is the illustration on the author's note here, which is very pretty, and the theme for the July box is Tales Retold. I am loving this picture. It's giving me Mulan vibes, and that was one of my favorite Disney movies when I was a kid, so really, really excited that I'm going to get that one as well. That's all I wanted to show you. See you later. Hey! So it's pretty late, but here I am with my last update. I just finished this book and I have a lot of things to say. Not very great things. And yeah, I just have so much to say and so much, I just need to talk about it to someone. So here it is. I will be talking about spoilers, so if you don't want to hear them, I suggest you just skip this part and go to the end of the vlog. But I will be ranting about this book and talking about spoilers. I don't think I've ever hated a book, but this one, I hate it. I did not go into this with very high expectations because I did read some of her work with the Pretty Little Liars series. But there was so much problematic things to me. Where to start? So as you can see, I put a lot of tabs in this book. So I don't annotate books usually. I think this is the first time I actually do it. I didn't write in the book. I just put some tabs where there was something that made me cringe in the book. So yeah, I cringed a lot. I'll go back to that later. So where to start with this book? Let's go with the plot, which was supposed to be an adult book, thriller mystery, not sure about that, but it's supposed to be adult, compared to a YA for her Pretty Little Liars series. What I've heard it was supposed to be about is that it was about an author named Eliza, and she was found in the pool and she couldn't remember what happened to her, and her family and people around her started mixing up things from her book and what happened for real in her life in reality, and they were mixing things up and the lines were blurred, and she was trying to find who pushed her in the pool, and she was the only one that was convinced that she was pushed. No one other than her believed her. So that's what I was told it was about. There were no blurred lines for real. Where are those lines? I have no idea. They weren't there for sure. Yes, it is about Eliza. She is 23 years old and she is about to publish a book. Her book isn't even published yet. So this plot is boring, predictable, unbelievable, and unrealistic. Must I say more? I do not know if I must, but I will say more. She was rescued from the pool and she's convinced that she was pushed. She wakes up in the hospital and she doesn't remember what happened, and her family is there. She has her mom, her stepfather, and her stepsister, which is also an adult, and she's just hanging around there. I have no idea what she's doing there, but whatever. Because she doesn't seem like attached. She looks like she's described as someone who's just tagging along, like a children that has no other choice than to just tag along with their parents, which was kind of weird, but we'll get to the characters later. And they don't believe her that she was pushed. And in the hospital, there's this guy who is a forensic, but he keeps asking questions as a detective would, and she just answers them with no identification of who that person is, which is very weird and is, by the way, never addressed in the book. So I still have no idea who that person was, and no one believes her. Even that forensic guy doesn't believe her, so they leave it at that. She finds in that guy's notes the name of the person who rescued her and his phone number. By some way, she remembers that number and that name, and when she gets back home, the person who rescued her, his name is Desmond, so he's there at her home, really creepy, really weird things, and she just keeps asking him questions and asking him if he saw someone there when she was there, and then he just keeps on tagging along, which is also weird for the plot. Like, why? Why would you? Why? I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, and then there's a lot of weird things, and I get it. When you have mystery, you want to like open certain doors and give some unanswered clues, hints. The plot of this book was, let's say you have a 4-piece puzzle, and then you get to the reveal of the big picture. I mean, it's not a reveal. It's a 4-piece puzzle. It's obvious what the big picture is. Or even better, with presents, like in those ads where you have like this bicycle that's wrapped around, not around the box of the bicycle, but around the actual bicycle, and the wrapping paper is all around the wheels and the handles, and then you just open the present not knowing what it is, and you go, what? A bicycle? I never would have guessed. It's obvious. This book was just so obvious, and there was no reveal. There was no twist. So every other chapter, you have a chapter from Eliza's book, which is called the Dots. From the beginning of the Dots, she writes exactly her own story. Eliza, when she was younger, had a brain tumor, and she was supposed to have been to have had surgery a year prior the book. And in her book she wrote, the main character has had a brain tumor. Like, it's the same. The difference between the book and her real life is that in the book she is taken care of by her aunt, which is very toxic, but we'll get to that later, which is not present in her real life. So it's pretty obvious that she's writing from her own experience, which is logical. And I don't understand why the big reveal has to be, oh my god, what happened in the book is what happened for real. It's not a twist. It's not a reveal. There's also this weird thing that happens where in the middle of the book where she just starts dating the Desmond guy who rescued her, and it happened like this without me even noticing it, which is really weird, unbelievable. So in the book, the aunt who took care of the main character of her book, Eliza's book within the book, she had the Munchausen syndrome by proxy. I'm going to read you the definition for those of you who are not familiar with this syndrome, because I don't want to get it wrong. So the Munchausen syndrome by proxy is a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behavior by a caregiver through those who are in their care. It is a relatively rare behavioral disorder. It affects a primary caretaker, often the mother, but in this case we're talking about the aunt, but she's the one who was the caregiver. The person with Munchausen syndrome by proxy gains attention by seeking medical help for exaggerated or made-up symptoms of a child in their care. As health care providers strive to identify what's causing the child's symptoms, the deliberate actions of the parent or caretaker can often make the symptoms worse. So in this case, the aunt was poisoning the main character so she could get even sicker and sicker, and doctors can't find out what's happening. And for Eliza, all of her memory loss was blamed on her brain tumor that she had. So there's a lot of mental health representation in here. But finally, the big twist turned out to be, in fact, that the book Eliza wrote was actually an autobiography of what happened to her, and she was a victim of her aunt with Munchausen syndrome by proxy. So not exactly a twist. And she never had a brain tumor. Like, her parents actually lied to her and covered that up. And instead of helping her heal and deal through her trauma, they got a pseudo specialist to get her hypnotized and do an experimental treatment to forget everything that has to do with her aunt. Because at the end of her book, her aunt dies because the main character tries to, it actually happened for real for Eliza. It's the way it did happen. But when she was adult, she tried to prove that her aunt actually poisoned her, and she switched her drinking glass with her aunt's drinking glass, and she's the one, so her aunt is the one who drank the glass with the drug in it. So the two characters argued, and then the aunt tried to attack the main character, and she fell off this bridge onto the highway and she died. And that's what happened in Eliza's life. I hate this trope. Just why? I hate this trope so much. The reason why I hate it so much is because I think it's not a good rep for mental health. Because here the main character, so Eliza, would just not be able to deal with the guilt of killing her aunt, so she just shuts herself. I'm not a rep for mental health. I did not experience those things. I'm not extremely familiar with it. I did hear about that syndrome. I do not have experience with it. I have heard a lot of stories, but I didn't experience it closely. So I cannot talk in the name of people who have experienced it or someone close to them experienced it, but I don't feel like it's a good mental health representation. It feels very cliche, very judgmental, and, well, not judgmental, but their prejudices for these type of traumas, and I know that not everyone reacts the same way to trauma, but I hate this trope. I've seen this trope many times before, and this book was published in 2018. I cannot believe that you couldn't come up with something better than that in 2018. And then the end just kept on going. The last 100 pages were such a stretch. It went on for way too long, and the epilogue went for way too long as well. I have to say though that she did include like the aftermath of having everything revealed and what do you do with that information and how do you cope with it. Because Eliza ends up being in a mental institution and she gets treatment and she gets therapy and all that thing, which is a good thing. I appreciate that it was in the book, but it went on for way too long. It just dragged. And in the epilogue, they added this type of, yeah, but was it real? Did she really kill her aunt? Was it really her aunt? Seriously, just don't do that, please. I can't understand what she was trying to do, but it didn't work out. For me, it didn't work at all. And the thing is, in her story, she had this nurse that was a lookalike of her aunt. Like it was supposedly amazing how they look alike and they could switch places and no one would notice, but they're strangers, which is okay. And she appears in the epilogue 3 years later saying her aunt paid her to take her place and make her not look guilty. And now Eliza is wondering, well, is it really my aunt or was it really the nurse? And what is real, what is not real? I hated the plot. So for those of you who have seen Pretty Little Liars, I could recognize a lot of tropes and a lot of plot twists from Pretty Little Liars that she put in the book. So this became a kind of recipe. It wasn't anything original, and there's a lot of things in Pretty Little Liars that I did not like as well. It is a comfort watch for me as a series, but I am very aware that it is not a 5-star TV series. I love to watch it, but there's a lot of things that are problematic to me in that series. The books are pretty average. I am going to reread them, so I'm curious to see if that will change. But I have to say though that most of the parts from the book The Dots were more enjoyable than the rest of the book, mostly because of the tone, and I'll get back to that later. So yeah, I didn't care at all for the plot. I didn't care what was happening. I didn't care what the twists were because there were no twists, and I didn't care about the characters. Talking about characters. So Eliza was obnoxious, mean, petty, and whiny, and like I get you want to do unlikable characters, but you have to still connect to those characters. Even if they're unlikable or morally gray, you still have to have something there to make you root for them. There was nothing in those characters I could root for or connect or anything. There was just nothing. She was acting like a 14-year-old teenager, and this is supposed to be an adult. She's supposed to be acting like a 23-year-old, and she was definitely not acting like that. And that annoys me so much. And her character was not coherent, which means that on one page, she would say one thing, and on another page, it would be something different. Her character would contradict itself throughout the book, which bothers me so much. I'm very picky with that because I have a bachelor's degree in theater studies, and I did have acting lessons and even directing lessons. Those are the basic things that you learn if you want it to work. Everything has to be coherent, and these characters were not. I could not understand the motivations behind her decisions. She took really bad decisions, but I didn't understand why. Why would she do that? I don't know. Okay, and then things just didn't make sense at all. And I know I've said, like, for the Dragon Republic, in the popular universe, the characters are all morally gray, but the tensions are there. They want to, they know what they have to do to be good, but it's always built on opposition and tensions, and they struggle with their bad decisions. And you can easily understand their motivations and why they're acting that way, and there's something there that makes you want to root for them, even if they make the bad decisions. In this book, there's no motivation, there's nothing except whiny characters. I don't want to say she was unrelatable, because obviously I don't have that representation. I'm not the right person to relate to those characters, but it was just not coherent at all. She also had like hallucinations, which were never addressed. And that's also the other thing that bothers me. If you're going to write problematic things, you need to address them. You don't just put it in there and leave it there. You need to address them, because otherwise it's harmful. And in this book, a lot of things were not addressed, and that bothered me so much. She was also very, very judgmental towards the other characters, which was very annoying, because she did bad things all the time. Like, why would you be judgmental? And I had a lot of struggle with that during the book. I felt like some of the secondary characters were very cliche. So for example, her book wasn't published yet. She never met her agent. She never saw her. She only spoke to her on the phone, and she never met her editor either. Okay. And there's also just this weird tone in the writing that I really didn't like. I think the author tried to make Eliza a little edgy, but it sounds really rude to me. So I don't know what you're trying to do here, but it's not working. So when I talk about incoherent things, like here she says at the beginning, she doesn't have her phone when she's in the hospital at the first time. And she snaps because she says, it's discomforting not to have my phone by my side. Like, one of my senses have been taken away. I've missed hours of news. I've missed random snaps from celebrities I've never met, and friends I've never seen, and distant family members I don't really like, and so on and so on. And when she talks to her agent talks about like, okay, who do you want to send this book to? Booktubers and book Twitter, book talk, whatever. And she's like, what is that? I don't understand. And she doesn't know what it is. She was ranting about not having access to social media at the beginning, and now that her agent is talking to her about promotion on social media, she doesn't know it exists. Makes no sense at all. Judgmental things that she says is like, there's a stranger that she sees. Let me read this. She says, are these descendants of Mr. Azure Enchantress? She asks. The owner, a pale, balding man who is most definitely a serial killer. What? Why would you say that? Why? Why? See, that was my reading experience. I started reading. I was like, what? What? Okay. Tab. What? Tab. There were soft ones at the beginning. They were a little louder by the end. I look at this man, again, certain he's someone nefarious. Based on what? Exactly. Explain, please. Nothing. Why was he so angry with me? What sort of crime had I committed? Had I had an affair? I wouldn't put that past me. In high school, I cheated on every boyfriend I had. It was like I couldn't help myself. I feel like the author is just trying so hard to make this character unlikable. It's just too much. Just stop. And I feel like she just put so much things in there, so much information and mysteries, that it was so hard and took such a long time to wrap it up at the end. And good for her, she answered the majority of her questions and mysteries she put out there, but still, there was just way too much stuff in there to grasp around. And I got really triggered when she talked about her editor, who arrives pregnant, really pregnant, and talks about IVF. And there's like 2 small paragraphs on that, and both of them made me cringe so much. Like the first time she meets her, she says, it's hideous of me that I've waited so long to come and see you. I mean, your book is practically out in the world, but I had to go through the IVF procedures for these. She gestures to her belly. And that seemed to take forever. You can't have a life. And then there was the morning sickness. I practically couldn't leave the house. She has 3. First of all, that is very unlikely to happen. I don't know for regulations in the States, but here in Canada, it is very unlikely to happen. Yes, you can live normal life even if you are going through IVF procedures. No, you do not have to stop living. This is so frustrating to read. It's so inaccurate. And when you go through IVF procedures and treatments, you don't shout it to whoever wants to hear it. I'm very open with my personal story with fertility, but I won't be just shouting it out to anyone who wants to hear it. I will talk about it if you ask me some questions. If I sense that I can trust you, yes, I will answer those questions because I know it can help other people who might be living the same things. But this is not the majority of people. Most people who go through IVF process do not speak about it openly. Their families usually don't know that they are going through those treatments. Yes, you do have a lot of appointments and it is hard to get around, but you don't stop living because of that. And in the second paragraph where it's mentioned, where IVF is mentioned, is when Eliza tells her that she too has had that same brain tumor that her character from her book had. And she answers, and here I've been whining to everyone about IVF and carrying 3 watermelons. That must have been horrible for you. I'm so sorry. Okay, yes, having to live through a brain tumor must be horrible. I do not wish that upon anyone. But having someone else going through a disease should not invalidate your own pain and your own struggles through fertility treatments. Do not invalidate my pain and my struggles of fertility by saying, oh my God, I shouldn't complain. It's not something worth complaining about because the other person has lived through worse. This bothers me, and there's just so much I did not like, and I feel like it's a lot in the tone of the writing. It's just small things here and there, but when you have that many small things here and there, it's becoming problematic. For me, it was really problematic, and I don't understand. I do not understand. So yeah, that was my rant. That's all I have to say for now. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It was really bad. I cringed all the way. It was predictable. It was boring. Unlikable characters. Like, I don't want to speak about mental health representation. I don't feel like it was done well, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not someone who believes in cancel culture. I think you should be free to read whatever book you like to read. And as much as I hated this book, I am not going to tell you not to read it. If you want to, go ahead. But yeah, I really hated this book. So that's it for my vlog. I've talked enough. This is going to be a very long vlog, but this is it for me tonight. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog and this book rant. If you're interested in having more specific book reviews, please let me know down in the comments. So as always, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you in the next one.